Okay, so here we are at the From Brooklyn Avenue to Cesar Chavez exhibit. We're studying today the Jewish histories in multi-ethnic Boyle Heights. So we're going to go in and just do a quick walkthrough of the exhibit that is here at UCLA. Now first, one of the first things I should probably bring to your attention is here on the floor, there is a 1921 map of the neighborhood of Boyle Heights. This is the base real estate guide for 1921. So as people have been coming in, they have been looking for their houses and their neighborhood and their streets on this map.
The last chapter I want to write about is about sort of the hate in the Castro and the West renditions and the sort of rebranding.
This talks about the diversity of Boyle Heights historically.
Victorian restorations, then ultimately that leading to sort of Victorian facadism. Like Victorians become like this like they go literally within about 10-15 years like span of time from being the symbol for the city for like what is standing in the way of its progress and modernity into like the heartfelt symbol of San Francisco, and then ultimately and then the step beyond that is they become like a new white urban like upper class like status to be able to own these things. Is that anything like so what I'm doing?
The origins of Boyle Heights.
I'm about halfway in. There's like a chapter right now.
Now what I find most touching in this entire display is actually a picture right here. This is a picture of the Fickett Street colony. My family actually lived just adjacent to the Fickett Street colony. This is El Hoyo. This is the neighborhood that was basically a little bit of a canyon and an area that was dug out in order to extract the clay for making bricks for the Simon's Brickyard. A lot of Mexican families came to work at the Simon's Brickyard, number one, that was in the southern part of Boyle Heights. And a lot of the workers who worked there were Mexicans who had come up from places like the state of Guanajuato, where my Mexican family had come up from in 1896. And as a lot of this area was dug out, a lot of the workers, they came and they settled into this area, creating these really, really very humble, very poor colonias through here. But this is the first time I've actually ever seen a picture of what it would have looked like, for the those laborers in the community. Because oftentimes we show the pictures of the beautiful northern sides, but most people don't realize that a lot of Mexican Americans lived in very rough conditions like this. I mean, this situation persisted until the mid-50s. But it's still very touching. This area is basically where the 5 and the 60 freeway, they branch off at the East LA interchange near Soto and Boyle. My original family settlement was at Opal Street. The entire extended family lived there. And then they later went and when the 5 freeway displaced them, they had to move to their other houses that were over on Soto Street, and then the 60 freeway came and displaced them. So the freeway actually runs right through the middle of where this picture is showing today. Those 2 freeways, the East LA interchange. As well as the 5, the 101 interchange is also connected just a mile up the road. So here we are going through the history, the Jewish history of Los Angeles, and the history in general, of course, but with a keen eye on the Jewish history of the area. Very important year, the year of the establishment of St. Mary's. The foundation of the school there as well would also encourage a lot of people to move to the neighborhood to give it a try. Wow. 1913, the National Radical Club. It was in the 30s with the start of the fight against fascism, which was very, very important. Actually, should probably skip over to here then.
Supposedly Mayan restaurant opened in Berkeley a couple years back, and last year there was a big fuss about it because it turned out that what actually the white chef did was
This is the 1938 anti-Nazi
to create all the plates, took the credit and fired him.
parade.
So anyway,
And then here's all kinds of wonderful mementos and information about World War II. And of course, you know, we always in the neighborhood have regarded the greatest tragedy that we've ever seen was really what happened to the Japanese people with their internment and their displacement from our neighborhood. Oh, while we're on displacement, this is talking about the freeways coming through. You would not believe historically just how lowballed a lot of the families were for their property in order to take it to make those freeways. The organizing against the prison by the mothers of East LA. Remember those days.
Space that was the first space for the Panthers school school practice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
It also says something about the kind of people living in it.
That's Leo Frumpkin right there. That's wild. That's so wild. He's a great guy. And the student protest against fascism. And of course this is the blowouts. And that's really great how they tied that together, these student protest movements. 31, 45, and 68. And then 70, the Chicano moratorium. Can't miss this. Wow. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. The history of redlining. The student protest in 1945 against fascism. The raising of the Israeli flag at the Breed Street Shul for the first time is the first place that the Israeli flag was raised in Los Angeles. Language and literature. This is really interesting. If you look through here, you'll see a Japanese book. And you'll see also a Yiddish primer, Mein Yiddish book. Oh, the poem.
You haven't even gotten to the law part. One of the things I wanted to show you, so when I started looking at student activism at Roosevelt, we found that history has a long lineage. So we started with the laws and we went backwards. In 45. That's right. So that's what we found. And what's hilarious about
Mariachi Plaza. So you can't talk about Boyle Heights without talking about Mariachi Plaza, La Plaza de la Raza. I had some family that was instrumental in helping to found that.
And then this got released. This is footage of the moratorium.
Now this is the greatest thing ever. This is a Yiddish typewriter.
These images are familiar to us in some ways now, and to see what was the incredibly peaceful demonstration sort of evolve that way, I think letting the truth sort of do the storytelling was really amazing. There's some fun narration, but
The Breed Street Shul. You know I love this building.
Yeah, that's what my work is about. So you know I was going to get that in there, right? They are actually. The daughter came on Sunday. Augie, the eldest son, is actually in the picture.
The bylaws. I think Don Hodes was the one who had donated that. My buddy Don. Here is the Rabbi Stender from the Breed Street Shul that was brought out here to display. History of self-help, mutual aid organizations within the neighborhood.
Exactly. So a lot of stuff comes from UCLA, and it's just about sort of remixing it and packaging it and bringing it together in new ways. It's really, it was a delight, I have to say, to put together. I'm so thrilled that you're enjoying it. It's really wonderful. I'm sorry.
Some of the people who were harassed as a result of the persecution of the left, some of those people were living. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you so much for coming. We so appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't know how to get the anti-communism crusade through here. But certainly, the Southern Michigan JCC was the target of one of those campaigns and basically goes independent as a result.
Now I'm just so thrilled. Right here on the left, before I get to that, I should say that right here on the left, these are collections of stuff from the Jasons, who was basically a boys club, a gang in their own way, a boys club though, formed in the neighborhood. And here's the information about this Jewish clique in the neighborhood. When social clubs were really something that that's very normal in the neighborhood, and something that was not frowned upon, that people didn't look upon with the same type of scorn that they do gangs of today. It was different times, sure, but I think a lot of what we need to understand is that in a lot of ways there's still a lot of people on the streets who have their own street culture, and we have to learn to respect that, And that's where we get to this. I am so thrilled. My friend Caroline Luce, who is the chief curator, she really, really, really fought for them to put this in here. This is, these are a bunch of pictures that I collected for a piece I had written about the low-riding car culture of East LA. It's a very, very important part of our history. So I'm glad that it got included. Oh, here's Menorah Center of City Terrace. Benjamin Franklin Library. Here in this display, they also have these pads where we can look through digitized copies of Roosevelt High School yearbooks. And then finally this last wall. This is great. It's covered with a bunch of music that comes from the Eastside. And it has these little listening stations where you can listen to some music. Of course, I had to listen to The Midnighters. Whittier Boulevard is our song. And then down here, we have some pictures of the murals at Estrada Courts. So yeah, this is what the exhibit looks like. And on Sunday there was 400 people out, but this is a weekday, and so there's been a bunch of students coming through who have been sharing their stories about the East Side. And I really hope that soon we'll be able to bring this display, this entire exhibit, back to Boyle Heights. Okay, there you have it.